Mrs. Skachillis here. I'm hoping you're all doing well, you're staying safe and healthy. I'm ready to share some more information for reading this week for our animal defense mechanisms. And I'm actually going to start with a poem. Miss Kenyon this week is going to be sharing some limerick poems with you, so I thought I'd pick one that'll go along with our animal unit. This one is called The White-Tailed Deer. It is by Kaylin Gunther. There once was a white-tailed deer who thought spring was the best time of year, until he got wet, 'cause a puddle he met. Spring was no longer something to cheer. So if you notice, a limerick poem has 5 lines. It's a simple, short poem. The last words of the lines rhyme. So the first, the second, and then the last line. Deer, year, and cheer, the last word in each line. And then the third and the fourth line, the last words rhyme. So wet and met. And then the last thing that a limerick poem has is it has a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. So there's a variety. If you notice, there's 2 shorter lines, and then there's 3 longer lines, and there's different stressed syllables. It's a short poem, but it works. I went with this poem because the other day, actually on Tuesday, there were a couple deer in our backyard. We have a lot of deer that like to come, and they like to eat, off the branches and the grass out in the back. And I did see their little tails, their white tails, and it kind of inspired me. So I was looking for a poem that would go with deer, and also I was looking for a limerick, so it worked really well. Hope you enjoy. I can't wait to see your writing as well when it comes to limericks this week. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is out of the Venom book, the Read Aloud book, I'm going to read about pufferfish. And this is actually right inside on the website. So on the website, if you'd like to, you can click along on page 74 and 75. It's scanned for you. So you could read along if you'd like to as I read to you. And then when I'm done reading and I share the graphic organizer, for fun, you can go back and reread. All right, so this is called A Meal to Remember If You Live That Long. Some people have reported that chimeras and many sharks are toxic to eat. However, the most dangerous fish isn't a shark or a chimera. It's the puffer or the blowfish. The fish gets its name from its ability to inflate itself so that it is too large for an enemy to swallow. Some species are prickly as well, but not every species of puffer is poisonous, but many are. If a predator does manage to eat a toxic puffer, it will probably die because the fish's skin, blood, and organs contain tetrodotoxin, and each fish has enough of the stuff to kill 30 people or a dozen elephants, though the elephants are far less likely than humans to eat it. And humans do eat it. The tasty flesh and fins of one species, that is. In Japan, people order a variety of this expensive fish known as fugi rubies, that's the scientific name, in restaurants. Only special licensed chefs are allowed to prepare it. They have to remove the poisonous bits, and they must be very skilled because just a tiny amount of the fish's tetrodotoxin is enough to fit on a pinhead, can kill a person. But the toxin may soon have a healing use too. Scientists are now testing a drug made from it has a non-addictive painkiller for patients with cancer and other illnesses. In clinical trials, patients were treated with tiny amounts of the drug twice a day for 4 days. And after 3 days, nearly 70% of them felt less pain. The relief often lasted way beyond the last injection, and in some cases more than 2 weeks. Each fish can provide 600 doses of the drug, so there's currently an ample supply. It will take more trials, but the puffer poison may soon be a great new medicine on the market. How incredible is that? So not only can it be poisonous to humans, but also it's helpful because it could be a painkiller for patients who have cancer and other illnesses. So now what I'm going to show you, I found this information very interesting. I'm going to show you the graphic organizer that's already filled out. And you can click on that too right on the website so you can follow along. So what I did is I filled this out, and this is already up there for you. And again, I'm looking at these are examples of how they protect themselves. So I went back in the reading, and I tried to make a list, and whenever I fill something out, I always like to do the other side, so then how they survive. So pufferfish protect themselves because they puff right up and they inflate themselves. And then how does it make them survive? Well, they become too large for an enemy to swallow because they're just so big. And on top of them being puffed out, but they're also prickly, okay? So because they're so prickly, it's going to keep the enemies away because you wouldn't want to go near that. So the prickly skin can hurt the pufferfish enemy, and it also would keep them away. And then most importantly, they're toxic. How this protects themselves? Well, they have pufferfish skin, their blood, and their organs all contain this tetrodotoxin, and that kills its enemy. So that's how they survive, because it's going to kill the enemy, and then the pufferfish will survive. And then the last thing that I found that was really interesting from the reading on how they protect themselves when I reread it was that the pufferfish have enough poison to kill 30 people or 12 elephants. And this fact really goes with over here, how the toxic kills its enemy. It's the same thing. So that's why I did put that near each other. Okay, so those are the main examples on how they protect themselves and then how they survive. So then in the next area here, I just jotted down some interesting facts about pufferfish. So some other interesting things to note from the reading is that humans can eat pufferfish. I mean, I wouldn't want to, but you can. And then special licensed Japanese chefs, you have to be very, very specially trained. They can prepare pufferfish, and they removed the toxic parts. Just the tiniest little pinprick of poison left inside could kill a human. So they're very, very good at taking all the poison out of the pufferfish. Again, I wouldn't want to chance it, but that's just what they do over in Japan. And then the last really interesting thing about pufferfish is how they're using them today for medicine. Pufferfish poison is being used as a non-addictive painkiller. So they're using it as a natural painkiller for patients with cancer and then other illnesses. It's very interesting. And it said in the reading, I'm going to go back real quick. It said it would take each fish can provide 600 doses of the drug. So there is currently an ample supply. So there's more than enough. Just one fish could have 600 doses to help patients who have cancer or who are very sick with other diseases. When I went back to create my paragraph to tell what this section was mostly about, I really went back through the reading, and then I took information from the graphic organizer and I just put in sentences. So you can do the same thing when you're modeling that with your next reading. This section of venom was about pufferfish. Its defense mechanisms are to inflate their prickly round bodies and poison its enemies. Pufferfish are very toxic. Also, humans can eat pufferfish, but only after a special chef removes the poison. Lastly, scientists are now testing a drug made from the toxins in pufferfish to help with the pain and cancer and other illness patients. Notice how I used a couple transition words there. So what you're going to do this week, you are going to do the same thing, but you're going to read all about ants. So you're going to click on the text, which goes right along. It's in the same document as the pufferfish one, right after it's the ants. 26 and 27 you're going to read, and it's all about some interesting ants. And you're going to use the same graphic organizer, which has been attached, and you are going to write down examples of how ants protect themselves and then how they survive. And I am going to guide you and do the same thing that I did. And when you write something here, then next to it, tell how the ant then survives. Just do it right next to each other. It makes it nice and clear. And then just jot down some other facts about ants. You're going to learn so much about ants. And then down below, you're going to do the same thing and give a nice, a 5-sentence summary. You're just going to explain what the section is mostly about ants. All right. So you can always go back and reread about pufferfish too, maybe come up with some more interesting information. But I do hope that you are all doing well, you're staying safe, you're staying healthy, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying so far what we're doing. So have a great week. I'll see you soon. I'm going to say goodbye to Jack. Sorry, Jack's been kind of in and out.
Hi.
Say goodbye.
Say bye-bye.
Say thanks for being patient with me.
Say bye-bye.
I know I was a little cranky. Oh, have a good week, guys. Talk to you. See you soon.